One Ukrainian MiG-29 carrying 4 American bombs on improvised Soviet wiring. A Russian factory 350 kilometers inside enemy territory producing 40 Shahed drones weekly. Ukrainian ingenuity versus Russian production. At 14:45 on June 27, 2025, a Ukrainian MiG-29 from the 41st Brigade banked hard left as voltage warnings screamed. The flight toward Yelabuga drone factory had been routine. His radar warning receiver erupted. An S-300 had painted him from 95 kilometers away. The pilot dove to 500 feet, using terrain to mask his approach. Each GBU-39 needed GPS locks and communication with the improvised iPad in his Soviet cockpit. The process should have taken 30 seconds. It had been 2 minutes. At 14:48, all 4 bombs showed green. The iPad displayed Yelabuga factory coordinates, producing Shahed 136 drones around the clock. The same drones terrorizing Ukrainian cities nightly. Over 6,000 produced in 2024. The pilot checked fuel. He had 2,100 kilograms remaining. After release, he would have 18 minutes over hostile territory before bingo fuel forced him home. The S-300 intensified scanning, joined by an SA-15 from the southeast. In 6 minutes, he would climb to 15,000 feet for release, exposing himself to every air defense. Voltage spike. It measured 31 volts for 3 seconds before the regulator caught it. The improvised pylons were pulling 32 amps through circuits designed for 20. Ukrainian creativity was fighting Soviet standards for American weapons, winning. The pilot pushed throttles forward. The RD-33 engines responded with 18,300 pounds thrust as he crossed into the contested zone at 14:51. Every receiver lit up. S-400 radars from Melitopol. Mobile Sa-15 systems vectoring. Krasuka jamming bleeding across GPS frequencies. At 15:15, the pilot banked into an 8-kilometer gap between S-300 zones. Intelligence had plotted this route, requiring flying between ridges for 7 minutes, using terrain to stay below the radar horizon. One mistake would put him in an SA-15 envelope. The gap existed because of physics. The S-400 near Melitopol could not see below 800 feet at this range due to Earth's curvature. The S-300 batteries had positioned radars for high-altitude threats, creating dead zones low level. But this corridor required precise flying. At 15:18, his receiver showed new activity. A mobile SA-15 had stopped. Its operators were likely suspicious of the coverage gap. They began radiating with search radar, probing for what he was doing. He pushed lower to 400 feet above a dry riverbed. At 15:22, the pilot initiated a 4G climb toward 15,000 feet. His receiver lit up as radars achieved lock. The S-400 gravestone was burning through jamming with 350 watts, painting the MiG with energy to heat its dome. The pilot had 90 seconds to reach the launch point before entering the S-400 envelope, where missiles could reach him in 24 seconds. Ukrainian Su-24s had launched HARM missiles against Tokmak radars 45 minutes earlier, forcing them offline. Electronic warfare units were broadcasting false returns showing a strike package from the northwest. These decoys drew attention while the lone MiG approached from an unexpected direction. As he leveled at altitude, instruments showed 12 minutes fuel for return. The GBU-39s ran final checks. Their GPS receivers tracked 5 satellites with 3-meter accuracy. The nearest SA-15 was 41 kilometers southwest, outside range but close enough to react. The Krasuka 4 near target had been transmitting GPS jamming for 10 minutes, flooding frequencies with 500 watts interference. At 15:28, the pilot pressed the pickle button. The aircraft lurched as 250 pounds separated from the pylon. The bomb's GPS detected massive interference. Within 200 milliseconds, the guidance computer registered ratios below thresholds and transitioned to inertial navigation. The Krasuka operators 82 kilometers away had no indication their jamming defeated itself. 6 seconds later, he released the second weapon, then third, then fourth. Each bomb deployed wings at 2.7 seconds after release. They transformed from projectiles into gliders. Their computers calculated paths to converge from different angles. No defense could engage all four. The pilot rolled inverted, pulled 5 Gs toward ground. His receiver showed SA-15 radars tracking. The nearest battery launched 2 missiles at 15:29 and 15 seconds. But calculations showed arrival 45 seconds after the MiG would disappear behind terrain. The GBU-39s flew at 180 meters per second. Each computer performed updates 20 times per second. When GPS signals briefly penetrated jamming at 15:31, weapons updated positions, confirming they remained within 8 meters of paths. Inertial navigation maintained accuracy through the most intense electronic warfare environment. The first bomb acquired the target at 15:32 and 44 seconds using infrared seeker. The building roof radiated heat differently than surrounding structures. The algorithm matched thermal signature against imagery with 94% confidence. The weapon adjusted trajectory for 68-degree impact. The second weapon struck the electronics workshop 28 seconds later. This building housed guidance programming stations where Iranian autopilots were configured. The bomb penetrated roof and detonated among workbenches loaded with circuit boards and equipment. The overpressure destroyed electronics throughout the facility. The third GBU-39 hit storage warehouse at 15:33 and 41 seconds. Intelligence indicated 15 to 20 Shahed, 136 drones stored here. Each carried 40 kilograms of explosives. Massive secondary explosion. The blast destroyed inventory and logistics chain, fuel supplies, spare parts, maintenance equipment worth millions vaporized. The fourth bomb double-tapped remains. The Krasuka operators realized jamming failed when explosions rocked the complex. Their system performed as designed, but failed to defeat weapons engineered to counter Soviet electronic warfare. The MiG pilot still had to get home. At 15:34, he leveled at 400 feet with 750 kilograms of fuel. His computer showed 180 kilometers to Ukrainian airspace, requiring 12 minutes flight. Behind him, secondary explosions sent smoke rising 3,000 feet. The receiver displayed launches from SA-15 batteries. Their missiles accelerated to Mach 2.8. But at his speed and altitude, terrain would mask position before missiles closed within 15-kilometer range. The valley ahead provided a natural shield. Russian commanders vectored 2 Su-35 fighters from Bryansk, but geometry worked against them. The fighters needed 8 minutes to reach the MiG position. By then, he would be 75 kilometers closer to airspace. At 15:38, he crossed Moloknaya River. This feature marked the limit of Russian radar coverage. The SA-15 batteries lost lock as he disappeared behind the ridgeline. Their missiles self-destructed after losing guidance. The Su-35s continued pursuit, but fuel would force them to abandon chase. Analysis revealed intelligence. The GBU-39s maintained accuracy within 12 meters despite GPS jamming. This validated American claims about electronic warfare resistance. The Krasuka performed as advertised, but failed to defeat weapons designed with Russian capabilities in mind. Ukrainian innovation transformed a 40-year aircraft into a precision platform. The Alabuga factory pumping out Shaheds at industrial scale was now burning wreckage, requiring months to rebuild. 40 drones weekly, gone. Ukrainian civilians would sleep safer tonight.